This is off the Grammy Award-winning CD, Lucerito de mi alma. It goes something like this. Lucerito de mi alma, que en las noches te vivo soñando. Tú me dices que te siga esperando. ¿Hasta cuándo te voy a esperar? Imborrable te llevo en mi mente, esperando de ti una esperanza. Y a mis brazos te esperan con ansias de llevarte conmigo al altar. ¿Dónde estás, lucerito de mi alma? En las noches te vivo soñando. Tú me dices que te siga esperando. ¿Hasta cuándo te voy a esperar? Imborrable te llevo en mi mente, esperando de ti una esperanza. A mis brazos te esperan con ansias de llevarte conmigo al altar. ¿Dónde estás, lucerito de mi alma? Que en las noches te vivo soñando. Tú me dices que te siga esperando. ¿Hasta cuándo te voy a esperar? Imborrable te llevo en mi mente, esperando de ti una esperanza. Y a mis brazos te esperan con ansias de llevarte conmigo al altar. Lucerito de mi alma. Thank you so much. Gracias, queridos amigos. Thank you. We got a great show for you tonight. We got some very special guests going to join us on the stage here.
Hey y'all, welcome to part one of Texas Folklife's 2021 Apprenticeship Program Virtual Showcase. I'm Pete Breithaupt, the program coordinator for Texas Folklife's Apprenticeships in the Folk and Traditional Arts Program. Thank you so much for tuning in live or watching the stream at a later date. Since 1987, the apprenticeship program has supported the training of hundreds of folk and traditional artists throughout the state. Each year, Texas Folklife provides $3,000 awards to 8 artist mentors, ensuring the opportunity for them to equitably offer one-on-one training in art, cultural, or heritage practices to dedicated apprentices over the course of 6 to 8 months. Rooted in intensive extended periods of observation and demonstration, conversation and practice, and hanging out, apprenticeships are often a private matter held between the mentor and the apprentice. And our virtual showcase provides a unique public-facing window into the collaboration of this year's artist teams. So tonight, our apprentices in Zydeco Dance, Conjunto, Bajo, Sexto, and Danza Azteca will share the skills and techniques, lessons and experiences, stories and memories they gained while fostering their respective traditions throughout the program. So without further ado, I am thrilled to introduce our first artist, Lindsay Gary. As the artistic and executive director of the Houston-based dance company Dance Africana, With a background in historical culture work and public policy, Lindsay dedicates her art and community engagement to researching and celebrating expressive practices from Africa and the diaspora. Prior to her apprenticeship, Lindsay, in an interview that we held earlier in the program, related to me that she recently realized that her knowledge of what she calls her so-called own direct culture was limited. So growing up in Houston, surrounded by family and friends, all with direct cultural ties to the Texas, Louisiana Black Creole community, Lindsay was steeped in Zydeco, that infectious accordion and rubboard-driven dance music that evolved within Southwest Louisiana's Black Creole community and later developed in Southeast Texas's urban centers. So through a fortuitous family connection, Lindsay made contact with Mona Wilson. Known as the Zydeco Queen, Mona is one of, if not the preeminent practitioner of Zydeco Dance, whose decades-long career has recently been on hiatus due to a number of unfortunate dance and non-dance related injuries. Catalyzed in part by successive knee replacement surgeries, and of course, her new apprentice, Queen Mona, is back Zydecoing full force with the recently, I don't want to say knighted, the recently, I'm losing my words here, appointed, I guess we can call, the recently appointed Princess Lindsay, and also, as Mona says, her new titanium knees. So without further ado, here we go. Lindsay, welcome.
Wow, welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome to everybody who's watching, and thank you so much for that amazing introduction. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm very, very excited to be here tonight to be sharing what has been a tremendous, tremendous experience. And so as you all know, thanks to Pete, I am Lindsay Gary, and I was an apprentice of Miss Mona Wilson, the Zydeco Queen herself, for the Texas Folklife Apprenticeship for 2021. Slide, please. So I want to start off by, thanking and talking about Miss Zydeco Queen Mona Wilson. And so as Pete mentioned, Mona Wilson is actually a distant cousin of mine. I had no idea that we were related until we actually started doing the program. And so I actually reached out to her through some of my historical and cultural research. As he mentioned before, I had been doing a lot of research on my direct culture relating to Louisiana. And so I came across Mona throughout this process years ago. I mean, almost 10 years ago, probably. And I just kind of stuck a pin in it. Okay, this lady is like the Zydeco Dance Queen. I need to remember that. And so then last year I was like, I need to follow up on that. I've literally spent a lot of time traveling the world, literally studying other forms of dance of Africa and the diaspora. But I really wanted to devote my time to my direct culture, my pinpoint in the diaspora. And so I came across Mona, and I was like, let me see how I can research her and get in contact with her. I can get the DVD, but I want to meet her. So I started doing some internet research and find out that a cousin of mine actually grew up across the street from her in Cade, Louisiana, where Mona is from. And so I'm just honored to have had a close connection to where my cousin Tracy could literally just give me her number, and I called her several times, and we connected right away. And this is an image of her recently on the left-hand side, and then of a cover of her world famous DVD on the other side. Okay, and next slide. And so, as I mentioned before, I have been called the Zydeco Princess, and I'm still trying to let that sink in. But I'm very appreciative of that, and I'm really working to fulfill that. But like I mentioned before, I've done a lot of cultural historical work throughout my life, and professionally, academically, artistically, and I really wanted to explore a deeper exploration, I should say, of my dance traditions in Louisiana. I grew up dancing Zydeco. I was actually taught first by my grandmother, but I never really took the time to study it in the same way I was studying for example, Afro-Caribbean dance or Afro-Brazilian dance. I've been both to Cuba and Brazil, for example, to study. So just thinking of those things, I'm like, it's time to really devote this time to our direct connection. Slide, please. And so this period actually initially happened last September and November. I can't believe it's been almost a year. And these are like the times when I began to study these traditions. So this is a picture of Mona and me at Jack's, our first meeting. Okay, next slide, please. So Mona had already been working with Jack's from prior years, doing filmings and teaching classes and coordinating Zydeco bands there. And so she had already had connection with them. And I've been going to Jack's. I used to go to Jack's and Zydeco, but this was my first time actually having some sort of partnership. And so we started meeting weekly, dancing at Jack's. And it was really just us one-on-one. So this is why the apprenticeship has been super transformative. And I'll tell you about why in a second. And this is Jackson and the manager, Rosa. Next slide, please. So after working with Mona throughout this time period, I was telling her, I was like, you know what? I think we should apply for this grant because I really want to go deeper. Like I said, we were only working one-on-one. Not that that isn't what we were doing with the Folklife, but I'll tell you a little bit more about the difference. But it was once a week. It was very limited. It was like an hour. And I really wanted to like spend more time with her and then kind of expand our outreach as well. And so we decided to apply. And thankfully, we were awarded this amazing apprenticeship program. Next slide, please. So we met weekly at Jack. So we basically continued our weekly meetings. But then it grew like beyond, not that I like had like these extreme expectations, but beyond what I could truly imagine. It just continued to grow. So it started off with us meeting like once a week, every other week at Jack's for about an hour. So we started meeting for like 3 hours every week at Jack's on Fridays. And then we would stay, like we would meet, and then we would stay for the Zydeco band to come. And that just took the program through the roof because it allowed me to spend an extended amount of time with Mona, talking to her, like learning all the steps, but then also it allowed me to apply what she was teaching me by dancing with other people, of course, safely. You see, we're wearing masks. We actually used to alternate our masks. Like she would put the mask on and then I would put it on for the photos. And so to really like immerse myself into the Zydeco community here in Houston. So that was just phenomenal. And it was just a whirlwind. Next slide, please. So these are just a few pictures and images that I want to go through now from our time period from about, I would say, February till about August. And so I want to just kind of go through some images. So this is one of our meetings. We were always cute and colorful. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is actually a video clip of one of our Fridays at Jack's. And this is Mona doing Mona's thing. Mona is a beautiful dancer. You can press play. So as you can see, those are some of Mona's signature moves. And what I really appreciate about having her as a mentor in this program is that she really focused on teaching me the foundation of Zydeco dance. And so it wasn't her saying, okay, this is how you're going to dance Zydeco. You're going to dance it in my style. She was like, I'm going to teach you the basics. I'm going to teach you how to teach it, which I think is very important. And what kind of differentiated what we were doing before the apprenticeship as well is because I was simply like learning from her about what Zydeco it was, what it emerged from, all these amazing things. But I wasn't really being taught how to teach it. And that's really important so that we can continue this legacy, this tradition of Zydeco Dance and it being done the proper way, right? And so she taught me the basics, and also allowed me to, you know, get into my own style and pulling on whatever, you know, other dance, you know, moves I have in my body, but also knowing that this is what Zydeco, this is what I brought separately, so that when I put it out there to the world, they know the difference, and it doesn't become just this like whatever you want to do type of thing, because it is improvised, right? It's improvisation, but there are still a technique. There's still a method to how you really dance Zydeco. Okay, next slide, please. So this is Mona, Mona and me again. We were out. We did a lot of outings. I had no idea what I was getting myself into from all the outings, but I'm not saying in a bad way at all. It was amazing. We actually, I believe this night we were out in the Channelview area for a fundraiser. And so again, this apprenticeship allowed for us to get out beyond just us meeting or talking, but like really immerse ourselves in the community. So we were doing a lot of things in the Houston area, but also even outside of Houston, right? So like going out on the outskirts, but then also going into Louisiana as well. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this is a clip of me dancing. I'm going to give you a heads up that it is very pixelated and the sound is a little, you know, hard to listen to. It's not the best quality, but I wanted to show you one of our times at Jack's. And this is me dancing with a partner. You can press play. I actually love that clip. I know it's a little not the best quality, but I love the clip because it really shows kind of like my style, you know, as well as comparing it to what Mona's doing. So not to say one is better than the other or anything like that, but just to say that Zydeco really is a beautiful dance and that there's a foundation, but then it allows for you to do improv, right? And like to bring in your own flavor. Okay, next slide. So this is amazing. I love this picture as well. This was during one of our meetings with the Folklife team, and it was amazing. We were actually at Jack's. So next slide. This was actually more recent. I think this took place in June. Yes, June of this year. And I don't know if y'all recognize the man in the middle. But his name is Andre Theory. He's an amazing Zydeco artist. I'm sure y'all have probably heard of him if you're familiar with Zydeco. And I actually am a huge fan of his. And when I was doing my research about 10 years ago, and I came across Mona, I came across her DVD, but also came across this video of her on YouTube dancing to Andre Theory's band. So I just always like remembered that. And then when I started working with her one-on-one in the program, she played a lot of his music. I'm like, oh my God, I love his music. So then I just started, you know, downloading on my phone and listening to it every day, like all the time. So it was just like such an amazing treat to meet him in person, and to dance. Now, unfortunately, the video, I couldn't upload the video that we danced to, that he played, but it was this amazing classic Zydeco song we danced to together, me and Mona together. But either way, it's amazing. He came here out of, I think we were really it was really unexpected, but just to like allow that to be a full circle moment for us was just so beautiful. All right, next slide. Another one of my amazing experiences, it's just when I was going through this, by the way, I'm like, we did a lot. Okay. So we were able to teach, co-teach a workshop at Vermilionville Village in Lafayette, Louisiana, which is where my grandfather, my whole family's from there, but my paternal grandfather is from Lafayette. The rest of them are from St. Martinville in New Iberia. And so it was nice to like really go back and to, you know, be invited to, you know, participate there and to teach Zydeco to, you know, our community there. So really creating this extended line between Texas and Louisiana. Okay, you can go to the next slide and click the clip. Yes, I love that too. Brings back the best memories. I really don't want this to end. Just as I'm going through this, I'm like, no, end. But yeah, so this actually was at Vermilionville. That's me dancing. And so this was actually after we taught the workshop. So what Mona does, which is so smart, and what she invited me to do with her, is to teach a workshop and then have the Zydeco, like before the Zydeco band comes, so that whoever is there early to see the Zydeco band play and to dance with them can actually get a lesson prior to. So this is what we did here. I think our class is about an hour, and these are some of the people who were in the class dancing with us after. So it was wonderful. Next slide, please. All right, so the amazing thing, like I said about this program, is that Zydeco is it goes beyond me now, right? So it's, you know, it's one thing for me to learn, and another thing for me to teach it, and that's what I'm like, I get chills about, because I know that Zydeco dance being done properly and the tradition being kept alive will not stop with me, won't stop with Mona. It'll continue to radiate out in the Texas area, in the Louisiana area, but also far beyond as well. So actually this summer I was in Philadelphia for about 6 weeks, just got back actually. And so I actually was able to teach some of my friends, and most of them are from the East Coast, Northeast Coast. So we have people from Maryland. We have people from also Midwest, I should say, Ohio, different places, New York. And so some of them are from the South actually, but they're not from Louisiana or Texas. And so they had never really heard of Zydeco, like literally never heard of it. So I was able to teach them. Actually, there's a friend there from Burkina Faso, from Africa. So people from all over literally learning Zydeco. And so this is like the very end of the class I taught to them. You can press play. So that, just watching that video gives me so much joy, and it really is just representative of the joy that Zydeco brings to me, to Mona, but to so many people within our culture and outside of it. Next slide, please. So I want to just kind of like encapsulate the highlights, the mini highlights of being in this program, especially something I didn't mention before. So we were awarded that honor, that amazing declaration from the state of Texas, which I am just so proud of. Also, this amazing article that was written by Pete that mentioned our long, amazing journey. Well, not that long, but amazing journey. But it's not over, right? But it also, you know, mentioned me as the princess, which I appreciate. Also, like I said, meeting Andre Theory, who I love. Huge fan of his music, and his also his cultural activism along with Mona. Teaching Zydeco in Louisiana, in Texas, and in Pennsylvania. Wow, I never would have imagined this a couple of years ago, literally. Working with an amazing team. So Pete, Sarah, everybody that's been super helpful and encouraging and supportive. Also studying under a legend, right? Mona Wilson welcomed me with open arms. She didn't know me. Like, she is like, who's this random person coming up to me last year? And the fact that we met last year, but we're like cousins, and I met her sister, and I'm like, oh, that's literally my cousin. We found out through one of our meetings, we have like a mutual ancestor, like a great grandmother, I think, or maybe 3 greats for me and 2 for her, I think. On our Jack K side of the family. So amazing to know we were related. And actually, my family in Louisiana knew her. I just didn't know that she was our cousin because I didn't grow up there. So some people I never met. And immersing myself into my direct culture, right? And then also, like I said, connecting with family and with these memories. And it truly is an entirely full circle moment with me. I always think about my grandmother and the moment she taught me and my sister how to Zydeco in her den. And she was from New Iberia. So truly, this program provided me with this amazing full circle moment. Next slide, please. And I wanted to mention that in addition to doing this amazing virtual showcase, we're doing our final showcase. And it's so sad. I'm like, I know it's at the end, but our final showcase, Saturday, August 28th. I went to September and October, August 28th. That's how you know I don't want it to end. At 3, we're gonna dance. We'll teach Zydeco from 3 to 4:30 at Jack's. Please come out. We'll come out and teach before the band so that you can dance with the band after and have your steps in cue. And last slide. Again, just want to say thank you so much to the team, to everyone for this amazing opportunity. And no one told me to say that it was this amazing, but it truly is. And thanks as well to Ben for your help as well. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lindsay. It was wonderful to watch the videos of y'all dancing. Really exciting to see. Really quickly, so as Lindsay mentioned, if you want to check out the new in-depth article that I had the absolute pleasure of writing about Mona and Lindsay's apprenticeship together, we will run the link really quickly here. There it is. And then also too, yes, just to reiterate another thing that we are just so thrilled about that Lindsay mentioned, the Texas House of Representatives adopted a resolution honoring all the participants in our 2021 apprenticeship program. So we are thrilled about that advocacy initiative, and again, honoring fantastic artists from throughout the state. So speaking about throughout the state, we're going to move from Houston, even though I think Lindsay was possibly tuning in from Philadelphia tonight, possibly. But we're going to move from Houston and move to Central Texas here. So next, I would like to introduce Hunter Chavez from Schertz. And Hunter is quick to tell you that his journey with Conjunto music started relatively late, emphasizing that he picked up his first button accordion when he was 15, and that he just, recently started exploring the Bajo Sexto in earnest. But I had to say that his modesty aside, from leading his own bands to collaborating with well-established artists, Hunter is already a front runner of the next generation of Conjunto artists. Surrounded by the music and the culture, Hunter grew up listening to his grandfather, a ranchero, play the button accordion, and he has recently been taken under the wing of Max Baca. And Max is one of today's foremost Conjunto artists. His Grammy Award-winning group, Los Tex-Maniacs, and extensive work with accordion legend Flaco Jimenez have not only established Max as a leading Bajo Sexto player, but the prominent spokesperson of Conjunto music and culture. So tonight, Hunter will showcase what he has learned from Max, and also, very lucky for us, that Texas Folklife's 2015 Big Squeeze champion and Hunter's close friend, Rito Peña, will be joining Hunter as well. So Hunter and Rito, please take it away.
Hi, how's everybody doing? My name is Hunter Chavez. Right here, that was on the squeeze box, is Rito Peña. And just want to say thank y'all guys very much for having me. Big shout out to Texas Folklife. And so yeah, I guess straight into it. I'm from Schertz, Texas, right outside of San Antonio. I've been here my whole life, and I just like people were saying, you know, I kind of came into the music scene in general kind of late. When I was young, I was about 12 or so. I kind of picked up the guitar and kind of messed with it here and there. But officially when I was 15, and a good friend of mine, where credit's due, is Ernesto Snake Carmona, took me to a bar when I was 15 years old, and it was like a candy shop. I walked in, and there was just all kinds of instruments, you know, the upright bass, the Bajo, Sexto, the accordion. And that was the first time I really saw the accordion up close and personal, being played for how it was. And so that day, you know, my friend Ernie, he was getting an accordion lesson, and he was just there being taught in a polka. And when I was watching for, I don't know, about 2 hours or so, I just picked it up. You know, I never touched one before, and I picked it up and started playing the polka that he was being taught. And from there, it was just a connection with the music that I was kind of staying away from, but I grew up with my whole life. You see, when I was real young, my dad would put me, you know, we'll be driving through San Antonio, and he would have the local radio station KDA on, which is nothing but Conjunto music. And I would be like, "Oh, Dad, I'll put on some rock and roll, put on something else." And so he would have his 15 minutes, I would have my 15 minutes of music. But I had always heard of it. I've always kind of knew who everybody was. I just wasn't really into it. But my grandfather, my dad's father, he happened to grow up on a ranch his whole life, and he was working it since he was 14 years old. And his lifestyle was really one with nature, and you know, and he a real ranchero, but he had the liking of the old conjuntos. You know, before it was conjunto or norteño, it was more rancheras, and he and a childhood friend, Fred Ojeda, would be playing you know, around the campfire, around the house, here and there, and they'll be listening and playing music of Los Alegres et Verán. So that's kind of where I got my understanding of it when I was real young. I wasn't a big fan of it. It's because I wasn't informed, or I didn't know anything about it really. But as I grew, you know, I started digging and doing my own research. And again, when I was 15, it was just a light bulb and a click. And from there, you know, I was doing my own work on the accordion. And I wasn't really into the Bajo or anything else really, but when I would play the accordion, you know, I would always hear it as like if it was just the Bajo and accordion, traditionally how it was, that's what it's for, you know. This here is a Bajo Quinto. It's the little brother to the big sister, the Bajo Sexto. The only difference is this one has 10 strings and the Bajo Sexto has 12 strings. The tuning from the Bajo Sexto, the only thing difference is it's missing the top E, and the Bajo Sexto is tuned in fourths. So if this was a sexto, it would be E, A, D, G, C, and F. Fourths down, fifths up. And this instrument is kind of interesting. It originally kind of came from my understanding, as the oud from the Africa type of music, going up into Europe and especially Spain, where it was called la oud. And then from Spain, it was brought to Michoacán, Mexico. And in Michoacán, Mexico, there was a real popular luthier that showed Macias Bajos, very, very famous and very traditional. And that's pretty much, you know, where the modern Bajos kind of based off of is the Macias brand. And he learned how to make Bajos down there in Mexico. He came up here to San Antonio and they made Bajos, I think since in the 40s, if I'm not mistaken, but it's already third generation, and that's kind of what this one's kind of replica after, but it's 10 strings. So when I came around this instrument, it was because of Rito Peña, as you just saw on the accordion. He needed a Bajo player to go help him out in Austin, and so I really wasn't a big Bajo player, but we figured it out along the way, and from there it was. I mean, this is my bread and butter. This is something I play every day, you know, and I love, and it's been like that for the past 4 years or so, and I really found you know, some good friends and good musicians, and I've met a lot of good people out there, and I just have to thank Josh Baca and Max Baca for you know, helping me out and showing me a couple things along the way. And there's a lot of more people out there that have helped out, but Josh has really been able to help me, guide me, and sometimes he shows me, you know, on a duo thing to where it's traditionally what the instrument's for. You know, this instrument is for the button accordion, to back up the button accordion. Instead of the button accordion playing the bass reeds on the left-hand side, this is to play the basses. You know, it's like so, you know, you get a mixture of guitar and bass strings, and that's what the Bajo's made up of. It was truly an honor. You know, I've known Josh and Max for, I don't know, about 9 years probably now. But you know, I've been able to hang out and get a knowing and understanding their style of music, because what they do is traditional art form of Conjunto music, all the way from rancheras to Schertz to polkas to anything. And they also venture out. You know, the accordion and the Bajo are major folk instruments. You know, they can play in all kinds of styles of music, and these are really some forefront heavy loaders of instruments. You know, these are interesting. You know, you can kind of just take these anywhere and you'll be able to play anywhere. You don't need to plug in really to anything, and they accompany and dance together. And that's something that I've always admired, and kind of the roots and folk life and the tradition of the music. When I was when I was a little bit younger, you know, I was more into rock and roll. I have my parents to thank for that. So as I was growing, I wanted to go more into the roots of it. So of course, rock and roll is into blues. But from there, you know, blues is all throughout the South. And it's all throughout the country, really, but mainly in the South. And just, you know, some of my digging and listening to like Lead Belly and all these old country blues, you know, acoustic players, it was just something that a real appreciation grew for an instrument like this. I know Lead Belly played a 12-string acoustic, but it wasn't your normal guitar setup. It was a little bit different. And this is pretty close to it. And it's just something that I had always liked. And, you know, I wasn't able to really see my grandfather play all that much before he passed. But he was able to see me play, and that's where I'm real appreciative and thankful for. Because doing my research and doing my digging, I'm able to find out, well, who do the idols that I look up to, who do they look up to? And so it goes back and forth, and I'm just really trying to get things to the old school roots ways of things. But some of the things that I learned was not just like your polka beat. You know, it was kind of a mixture of things where, you know, you can have a cumbia, you know. Or you could have one of my favorites is a wapango, you know, so it's like. Have all kinds of different rhythms, and these all come from all around the world, really, and they're just kind of incorporated into Americana. And I just gotta say, I'm real thankful that Max thought of me to be his apprentice. You know, I got that phone call and I was like, yes, you know, automatically it was already, of course I would love this. And I met some good friends of mine, and I remember when I went to go play with Rito a couple years back in Austin. I believe it was for Texas Folklife, and we got to meet Charlie Lockwood, who was, you know, in head of Rito and stuff, and it's kind of just trickled down, and it's cool that and I get to work with Pete, you know, because he's a real cool guy, and he understands and appreciates where all this music comes from. So when Texas Folklife accepted the application for me to be able to do this, it's a true honor. But Max and I, we got together quite a few times, and yeah, he showed me a couple things here and there, and helped me out on, well, instead of doing that here, do this. But I would say a lot of it comes from just doing your own research. You know, I take my headphones everywhere, so when I work on my own, I'm able to just kind of dig and find all kinds of guys, you know, Oscar Reyes and just, you know, Ruben Garza, all kinds of different styles of Conjunto. And even in different parts of Texas, you can get different styles. So I just want to say thank you to Max and to Josh. But real quick, Rito and I are going to do another poquito for you. And this one's called Las Naranjales. So we hope y'all guys enjoy this. again, just want to say thank you very much. I want to thank Max Baca, Pete, and Ben. Thank you guys very much, and everybody at Texas Folklife. I appreciate that. This is Rito Peña, and y'all guys have a good day. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Sounds great. Cool. That was a lot of fun. Before we introduce our final artist of the evening, we have a special message from the Texas Commission on the Arts, a close and vital partner of Texas Folklife that makes the apprenticeship program possible.
Hello, I'm Gary Gibbs, the Executive Director of the Texas Commission on the Arts, and I want to congratulate the 2021 apprentices who will be doing their showcases today. We're so proud of the effort that you've taken under these very challenging times and that you've excelled in your own artistic disciplines. The relationship between Texas Folklife and Texas Commission on the Arts is a long and fruitful one. We support the activities of Texas Folklife because Texas is a big, diverse state with numerous art forms. And through the hard work of Texas Folklife, TCA is able to support the work in the folk and traditional arts. And we're grateful for that work. And we're grateful for you for preserving your art forms and passing them on to the next generations. So once again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much for your words, Gary, and TCA's continual support of our program. As Gary referenced, Texas Folklife's apprenticeship program is made possible by a state partnership award from the National Endowment for the Arts in partnership with the Texas Commission on the Arts and support from the board and members of Texas Folklife. Additional support is provided by the Cultural Arts Division of the City of Austin Economic Development Department. And some special partners for this year's program are the Arts Council Wichita Falls and the Indigenous Cultures Institute. If you're interested in applying for or would like to learn more information about the program, please contact me, Pete Breithaupt, at apprenticeships@texasfolklife.org. There's my email at the bottom of the screen. Or fill out the apprenticeship program interest form, which is found on the Texas Folklife website. If you go to the apprenticeship program landing page, there is a button that you can click that'll take you directly to the interest form. Application materials for the 2022 apprenticeship program will be available this fall. Please also consider supporting the apprenticeship program directly by making a tax-deductible donation to Texas Folklife. You can click the donate button, which is found on our homepage, again, texasfolklife.org. For more dynamic folk and traditional arts programming and initiatives, once again, you can visit texasfolklife.org, and you can also tap those like and subscribe buttons on all of our social media channels. All right, our final presenter of the evening, apprentice José Dominguez-Leal. Under the mentorship of his mentor, Mario Ramirez, himself an apprentice of 2017 apprenticeship program mentor, Evelio Flores, Jose has been exploring the conceptual, physical, emotional, and spiritual components of Danza Azteca. With roots in various indigenous communities of Texas and Mexico, Danza Azteca is a complex cultural tradition that blends ceremonial movement and song, musical instruments and poetry, regalia, body art, and protocols. Please enjoy Jose's video presentation.
All right, let me get this figured out here. Hello, Amanam, and good evening, everyone. My name is José Dominguez-Leal, and I'm coming to y'all virtually to this presentation for the Texas Folklife Apprenticeship Program. As I've the final showcase, right? Here we are. So I'm here today at the San Marcos Springs. Though this body of water has gathered people and all forms of life here for a very, very long time. And it is, first with the permission of this water that I, began this apprenticeship. So I figure it's very right for me to be here at the culmination of the apprenticeship to share with the water and to share with all of you what I've learned through the apprenticeship of Danza, which is our art form of Indigenous dance and prayer and culture here in Texas. And so I'm excited to talk to y'all a little bit about this today and just my journey and my process of learning. But before we get into that, I would like to say thank you so much to my teachers, all who have been, teaching me throughout this process, including the mentor, my mentor Mario Ramirez. Thank you, Mario, for your teachings and your energy and your efforts to help me learn danza. It's been a really fun process, and we'll definitely be going into it. But I also want to thank Mario's teachers as well, Evelio Flores and Azucena Flores, out of me and the entire group of Mitotilitzli Yaolotli. I want to thank my danza community here in Central Texas, Danza Oliñolot, the grupo that we have that has been a beautiful space here in Austin and San Marcos. And I also want to thank all of the other danza groups and people in the community that I have had the pleasure of meeting this past year or these few months through the apprenticeship. So thank you to the danza community in Texas for being there. I'd also like to express my gratitude to my sponsors, Maria Rocha and Dr. Mario Garza. Thank you all so much for sponsoring me and connecting me in these ways. Very, very grateful for y'all's mentorship and guidance in my life. And yeah, I'm excited for the culmination of this apprenticeship and to see where my art form continues to go. I'd also like to give a shout out to my parents and my family back home, because I love y'all so much. With all that said, I would also like to express my gratitude towards the spirits of these lands here, and the spirit of the water. Yanawana, Hewakiana is her name in our traditional Cuauhtecan understanding of connection to the sacred site. And I'd also want to thank Spirit for, helping me find my way and begin this process, or continue this process of understanding myself. So it's more than just an art form or a way of dancing, but it is it's a way of life, really, and a way of of connection and understanding of the self and ancestors, right? So thank you also to my ancestors. Thank you to Texas Folklife and Pete. Thank you so much for all your support. Lovely. This is lovely. I love this. And it's never this is just one chapter, right? This is one end of a chapter, but the cycle continues. So I do want to say that. So this apprenticeship was very informed by the legacies and the histories of the Mexicayot traditions in danza. So as I walk with y'all, and thank you for being here, right? The way that I ended up coming to danza was through folklorico, right? So folklorico is kind of a nationalistic, contemporary performance of dances, right? Regional dances connected to statehood, right? In Mexico. And folklorico got me to where I am today. It's opened the doors to me learning about danza and my own decolonization process. And yeah, I'm very grateful for my teachers and, you know, everything that's led me up to here. But for today, you know, I'd love to take us into more about danza, and I've got a little presentation that I'm gonna edit and add in after this. But before that, I would like to show a little clip of a danza that I did on my birthday ceremony. So y'all can kind of get a feel for what it is, and then we'll talk about it. At the beginning of the presentation, where danza is found, what is danza to me, and a little bit more about what I've learned. And then we will close out here with the final blessing for you and everyone else here at the watching online. We'll finish off at the Sacred Springs again. So check out this clip, and we'll see y'all soon. All right, thank you everyone for joining. This is the presentation that I was talking about. I hope y'all enjoyed the clip of me doing my danza. That one was called Fuego. In case you're wondering, it is an homage to the fire, right? So Danza Azteca, Danza Chichimeca, Danza Mexicayot is an intergenerational art form that has been passed on from generation to generation from central parts of Mexico, right? Better known as Aztec Dance. There is a rooted understanding here of communal responsibility, cultural sharings, and cosmologies that have been migrating for many, many generations. So from the outside, you know, you may see that it may just seem like footwork, right? There is actually, though, significance and reverence to each dance, each regalia. In every detail, there is intention, right? So Danza Azteca is a way of life, right? It's a way of life in a form of kinesthetic prayer. It's a holistic discipline, right? We got to train the mind, the body, the heart, and spirit. Holistic. And with this comes the caretaking of the culture, the history, and the dances, and the people, right? So Mexican or Hispanic and our indigenous relatives consider Aztec dance a traditional ceremony and prayer, right? This art form allows us to connect to the elements of the cosmos which are present in the steps of the danza. Danza ceremonies are known to last for full days and even multiple days, depending on the importance of the prayer and where it's happening, when it's happening. It is a deep feeling that many people know is part of their culture. And there's understanding that is a reverence, right, to that which is bigger than what we are as individuals. It also allows us to give reverence to our Mother Earth, the fire, the air, and our Mother Waters and the water. These are all teachers that give life, and it reminds our cultural community of our source, right? And how we are connected to all of our relations, everyone that we're related to. Danza also teaches us that we are warriors, right? What are the qualities of a warrior? I want you to think about that for a little bit. It teaches us that we need to be warriors in different aspects of our life. It's like a mindset, right? Also movement, right? We talked about it being kinesthetic prayer. Movement itself is medicine, right? Medicine is not just about consumption, right? Little pills, things that you take, ingest. It's not just about that, right? Medicine come in the form of a lot of things, right? A lot of things can be medicine to you, right? For a lot of things in life, I hear this quote all the time: you get out what you put in, right? And that's something that is a central tenet of danza, right? I think one can call that reciprocity, right? That's a big thing. And it's also about, and through danza and through the medicine of danza, right? It's about doing the work, to transform something within you, right? Through that movement is that work. Feeling the drum, I think about this photo a lot, which is one of the practices that we had in Dallas. Looks a little like it was a little colder that day. I remember that day. The sun could be beating down, or it could be a cold and cloudy day, but you hear the drum, you feel it no matter where you are, when it is. The drum, we gather in circle with the drum. And it moves within you. The flow of the energy of the drum helps facilitate the movement of anything that is trapped within you. At least this is my experience, right? Feeling the drum and dancing to the drum, doing these danzas. There is a certain respect, right? A respect towards the sacredness of the tools and the teaching. So, for example, the drum, the regalia, there's a lot of respect that goes into it. Where does danza exist, right? I think that's really important to talk about. Now, danza, I've talked about how it exists here in Texas, and these are the different places in Texas that it does exist, right? These danza communities. Right, but danza ranges across the Americas, right? Across the Americas, and it pulls from different tribes and communities. One thing that is important, I guess, in our indigenous ways of knowing and being, is something called the Eagle and Condor prophecy, right? And in that is a movement of indigenous communities exchanging knowledge and medicine and dances. And I understand to believe danza as a part of this, right? As a part of this prophecy. So Danza Azteca migrated north from Tenochtitlan, or Mexico City, right? And the language used in the danza community for a lot of things is Nahuatl, right? So that can also be found in the US in different places. One example that Mario, my teacher, has talked about is, if you think about it, Seattle is in, what was that, Washington? Seattle, Washington, is rooted in the Nahuatl language, right? Seattle, se is one, it means one, and atl is water, right? So one water. So that's just an example of the language, and with the language is spoken by the people, and with the people comes the dance, right? So fun fact. And then another picture here is that I wanted to share is the Texas, the spring. So y'all saw in the beginning my my introduction there, the sacred springs of San Marcos. has been flowing since time immemorial. Is a very sacred site to me as a Cuauhtecan person and the Cuauhtecan community. But it has been a gathering place for people and anyone, right, for a very, very long time. And I just wanted to show the picture of the springs here and the 4 springs in Central Texas that are all connected. So yeah. So there's 4 main, topics that I'm going to be talking about today. The first one is, history and legacy. It's something that I've been learning a lot about as I've been practicing danza. And so I think it's really important to talk about this one here. So this is a photo of the Grupo Oliñolot, which is, we had a practice in March, and I was actually helping facilitate it and lead it as Mario had asked me to. So yeah, so one thing that I mentioned earlier also is that the danza legacies that have formed what I have learned come from the Mexicayot traditions, right? So teachers and legacy, right? So on the left here, you see Mario Alberto Lincoln Ramirez, who is my teacher. And Mario is Chichimeca with Oliñolot, our local group, and he has permission from his teacher, Evelio Flores, Evelio Chichilticoa Flores, who is runs the Grupo Mitotilitzli Yaoyolotmi, right? And Evelio himself is actually Cuauhteco like myself. So a little bit more about that later. But on the picture on the right is Evelio's teacher, who is Jefe Daniel Rodriguez. And Evelio inherited the palabra from teacher Daniel through the Corporación de Concheros de Mexico. And so I wanted to share this. I love seeing these photos just all lined up next to each other. It's really exciting. Here is Jefe Daniel's, or here's a photo of the Corporación de Concheros de Mexico. A photo that I got from Mario, who shared it with me. It's like a really old photo. I don't know what year that is, but it's really awesome. And then this is teacher, right? So Jefe Daniel Rodriguez out of Mexico City. This is the legacy, the lineage of these teachings of danza. That's where they come from, right? Right from the heart of the city. So yeah, just back on that, like it's really an honor to know, that these teachings are very rooted in a specific legacy, and I'm kind of like segments away, I guess, not segments, but there's a certain level of distance that I've never met teacher from Mexico, but actually it's pretty an honor because he created, my traje, right, which thanks to Texas Folklife, I was able to order custom for myself. Jefe Daniel was able to, with his hands and his vision of creativity and making trajes and everything he does, made this traje specifically for me, right? So here's a photo pretty recently from the 500 Years of Resistance events that happened on the August 13th. So this past Friday in San Marcos, Texas. This is me and my traje made by Jefe Daniel at the event, and the event itself signified 500 years of resistance. The speech that Cuauhtemoc, one of the Aztec leaders, gave to the people. But that was an event commemorating that these 500 years. But I was really proud to wear my traje that I was made intentionally for me. Is really, really, really cool. I'm just like still trying to getting over, not, I'll never get over it, honestly. But the symbols, are very, the essence of something that is very important to me, right? Me, Cuauhtecan person, living here in Central Texas, right? Choosing specific sacred images and sacred symbols for myself, things that I want to represent in my connection to danza and to the medicine of the land and the water here. The deer, right? I chose the deer. I chose the San Marcos River as an inspiration, right? Which is fed by our mother springs, Ajewaquiana. And the rice, the Texas River rice that is endangered and only grows here in these waters, right? In this river, that people have tried to replicate its growth, elsewhere, but it only grows here. Zizania texana is the scientific name for it, but it is endangered, and that is why our waters are protected. And so the colors that I chose were orange, green, and blue. And I'm really, really excited to have this as part of my medicine and to share that with everywhere I go, right? I'm very proud to wear my traje. And so that was a little bit on the legacy and the history, right? So here now, the next kind of topic that we, as a tenet, a pillar of danza is the protocol and ceremony, right? And I'm reminded that by teacher Mario and teacher Evelio, right, that protocol and ceremony, right, it is a tradition that is rooted within community, right? These are traditions that are preserved for generations, right? They're the representative of the elements. And I'm reminded too that, it does with this type of work, with this type of learning, danza, this art form, it starts at home, right? It starts with the self. You don't just show up to go dance, right? It's a very much internal process, too, and there's a responsibility, right? And so with danza, you give everything you have, right? You give everything you have. It's very much kind of sacrifice. You give, your energy, it's all part of your offering to your prayer, right? The strength of your prayer. So there's also a historian, right? That in our circle, Dr. Ruben Arellano, and he writes about the importance of the tool of danza as a tool, right? A tool of decolonization, a tool of finding identity, right? And he writes about how it is really important. Danza serves an important purpose in how the legacy of Chicanos in Texas understood to be indigenous, understood themselves to be indigenous, right? So yeah, I wanted to talk about those things, but yeah, here's some picture of danza practice that I had on my birthday. We did a little practice in San Marcos, and it was really exciting. We went to swim afterwards, right? So very much community and ceremony, right? And with that, there's a lot of protocols too, right? Another ceremony is the Mexica New Year ceremony, right? We went to in Dallas, right? Here it's here you see me, right, by myself in the middle of the danza circle, offering my danza by myself, right? One thing that I've learned is that danza is not about ego or any single person, right? It's about an opportunity to be in community, right? It's about to decolonize, right? To breaking, and that includes, breaking down the me versus we mentality, right? So me mentality, like me, and we, like we are community, we are here together, right? And so, like I said, you see me in the middle here. I really feel like I've experienced a lot of growth during this past apprenticeship. I'm here in the middle by myself doing high danza, and on the two photos on the left. And insider note, I was super nervous to be here by myself. It was like the first time I think that I did one on my own, because either when you do it, you can bring other people in with you. And I, at that point in time, I was like, oh, I gotta do it. I gotta make it right. I have to show, that I can do it by myself. And that's very important too, right? But I think I still had that me mentality, right? Like, I gotta do this. But yeah, just that the ceremonies that we know today have been here for 100 years before we were born, and for several hundred years, and they will be here after, right? That's another teaching. The next topic that I'd like to talk about, which is another pillar for danza, is the actual danza itself, the danzas themselves and the performance of them, right? So it takes a lot of training and weekly practice, consistency, right? Going to Dallas, going to the local practices and the events here, and there's a lot of like physicality that goes into danza, right? You see in these photos, I'm sweating, and that's just part of it, right? It's hot, you do it, you go for it, and you sweat, and that's part of your offering, right? But so much has happened in these past few months, personally, interpersonally, and at the most recent practice here in Dallas that we went to this August, actually, or early August, contrast to the one you saw in March at the Mexican Year ceremony. When I went into the middle this time, I chose to bring everyone with me, right? I invited everyone that traveled from Austin to, my Oliñolo community into the circle with me to lead a danza for us all to do. So, and I think I was reflecting, and like, that's a really big deal for me, because at first it was like, oh, I just got to do it, and now I'm realizing, it's not about me, it's about the community, it's about reminding myself and being able to do that together with everybody. So that was really, really important to me. The next big topic, big pillar, is building kinship and community, right? So kin and community, kinship between Coahuitecan and my southern relatives, right? So me, a Coahuitecan, a descendant person, right, from the lands of South Texas and North Mexico, right, participating and learning, right, danza, which comes from a little further south, right, central Mexico. Why is that? What is that, right? Well, danza is not a Coahuitecan tradition, right? But it is, like we said, a tool, right, for community building within the indigenous communities in Central Texas and just all over, right? It's a very amazing, it's a beautiful thing, and I've learned so much through danza about myself, and I believe that I talked more about it in the interview that we did, but yeah, it's been really cool. Here you see, our 2021 Indigenous Arts Summer Encounter that happened this summer, is a pilgrimage that we did from the Sacred Springs to a repatriation and reburial site, a very, very significant work, and to teach the youth about ancestors and just like what it is to have a ceremony in that way. But along the way, or along this pilgrimage, we did danza at different stops along the way as part of the offering, and then we ended in community. But here this is a Guahuitecan summer camp that facilitates an encounter for these young people who are Hispanic or Latino, to understand their themselves as Indigenous people, or descendants of the Indigenous people of these lands. And that's a lot of responsibility, right? To come to that and to understand there's a really important role of danza in activism. There's a big history there too, right? And so here is just some photos from the an event that we had to advocate for our ancestors to be reburied, that are being held, right? So yeah, there's a lot that goes into danza, and thank you all for listening, and I'm happy to share. Here is a picture of a deer. Thank you all so much. All right, thank you all for joining me today. I hope this has been informative to you, and you get to see how much danza has impacted my life, and stay tuned for the blessing at the springs. Have a good evening. To all those who are watching also, and those present on the live stream, hello, and I'm passing to you, if you haven't yet met the springs. So now y'all are acquainted, and anytime you're here, you should come by and visit, because this sacred site is amazing. And yeah, I hope you get to know the water around you.
Wow. Thank you, Jose, for that wonderfully informative presentation and all the beautiful shots of the San Marcos River. If you want to learn more about Jose and Mario's apprenticeship, feel free to check out excerpts from the interview that I had the opportunity of participating in with them. And there's the link right down there at the bottom of the screen. So one final thank you to each of the artists who presented this evening. Speaking on behalf of Texas Folklife and myself, we've really enjoyed getting to know you and learning about your work over the course of the apprenticeship program. And yeah, just want to express our sincere gratitude for putting together such wonderful showcase presentations, right? This is a lot of work, a lot of effort to put this type of material together. So we really, really appreciate everyone's time in making this virtual showcase to what it was today. So thank you. Also, send thanks to Ben Doyle of Ben Productions for his technical assistance during tonight's broadcast. And again, for all of y'all who joined us tonight, or who are watching at a later date, thank you. And be sure to tune in again next Tuesday, August 24th, for part 2, streaming live on Texas Folklife's Facebook page at 6 p.m. Part 2 will feature presentations on classical Indian dance, cowboy metalworking, and more Conjunto Bajo Sexto. All right, so we'll have a great evening and stay safe. Thanks, y'all.
We're gonna take you back to Louisiana on this. Hey.
Watch that mule crazy old mill.
Hey,
Watch that mill.
watch it. Say what?
Crazy old